So it has been historic days in Washington. You wouldn't know it on Wall Street, however. We're seeing record highs across the board since the Democrats began their impeachment inquiry back in September. The S&P 500 is up more than 7%. Investors know the chances that Donald Trump gets removed from office are exceedingly low. The market also made gains during the impeachment of Bill Clinton back in the 1990s. In the early 1970s, stocks plunged 32% when impeachment proceedings started against Richard Nixon until the day he resigned. Greg Valliere is the chief U.S. policy strategist at AGF Investments. He joins me now. Sir, good to have you with me. Why are the markets not responding to Donald Trump's impeachment?
Well, I'd say two reasons. Number one, as you said, the outcome looks pretty likely that Trump will get acquitted in the Senate. Number two, the news has been great in the last month or so. We got a trade deal or a partial trade deal. We got a phenomenal unemployment report, more and more signs that there is not a recession that's imminent. So I think the really good news has been a factor as well.
We have had really good economic data that has come through, and it's really evident in the way that money has been flowing into the equity markets. I guess the question is here, how much momentum does this market have, and is the 2020 election going to create any uncertainty in your mind?
Well, when everyone thinks the same way, I get worried.
Yeah.
And the market now is so euphoric, getting a little frothy. When the market gets frothy, a lot of professionals start to get nervous. We may be getting close to that point. So I do think, however, that the economy is in pretty good shape. First quarter may grow around 2%. This quarter, the fourth quarter, may grow at 2.25%. But when we talk about the general election, I mean, there are a lot of political risks. As of today, I think Trump is the favorite to win re-election.
Yeah. And that's an interesting point that you make, because the reality is many have noted just how well the markets have been doing and the economy has been doing under his leadership. If there were to be a change, how would that impact markets?
Well, I think if it was an Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders change, it would be pretty negative considering their positions. If it was Joe Biden or Pete Buttigieg or maybe Michael Bloomberg, I think the markets could live with them. They're more moderate. But any kind of change, I think, brings with it the threat of volatile markets. And I think the markets have been so uniformly sanguine for the last couple of months that can't last forever.
Yeah. I read your recent notes, the Grinch alert.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
what are the big risks here? I mean, you know, the Grinch kind of stealing the euphoria. The impeachment drama isn't actually over as yet. And then the trade deals, that's a big one.
Well, there's no real trade deal yet. They said they had an agreement in principle last week, but the details aren't out yet. Trump is still a tariff guy. He's looking at Western Europe and French wine, things like that. That's still got to be a concern for the markets. The big concern for me is that the Fed, which provided a life preserver this year, is not going to be back in 2020. I think the Fed stays on the sidelines. So if the markets are hoping for any monetary policy gift, it's not going to come.
Yeah, okay, so inflation. How are you seeing this playing out in the next year? I mean, we know the Fed doesn't want to really move on interest rates, and if you've got frothy market, that could mean, you know, an increase in inflation, and then you've got to see a Fed move at some point.
Well, once again, if everybody in the world thinks that inflation is dead, I get worried. And there are some things to be concerned about. The labor market is so tight, wage pressure might start to build up again. I think that's a very big concern. And really, all the inflation indicators, except the one that the Fed uses, is already at about 2%. So I don't think inflation is going to heat up, but I don't think inflation is going to be dormant either. It's one of many reasons why I think the Fed's easing is over.
Yeah, so lots to ponder over as we head into the new year. Happy holidays to you, sir. Great to have you on the show.
Same to you.